Here we go. The moment of truth. The moment of truth and justice. Some would even say the American way, Superman style. I have to see it, folks. If I don't see it, then I don't believe it. We are here. We are here. What's up, everybody? Good morning. I'll do my time zone first. I don't usually do that, but that's how it came out. So good morning to all my fellow West Coasters. Happy Thursday. Good afternoon to all the East Coasters out there. Hope you're having a good lunch or had a good lunch. And good evening, if it's evening in your time zone. And how's the future? To everybody who is already in the future, New Zealand, Australia, how is the future? Please fix climate change for the rest of us. We're counting on you. Welcome to Get Your News On with Ron. This is the patron stream. This is where I respond directly to the patrons, and the patrons send me stuff for the topics today, and the replay of this stream is only available on Patreon. If you're catching this live and thinking, man, I'd like to become a patron, patreon.com/Ron Placone. How much does my Patreon cost? It's a give what you can level. I don't have any tiers. It is a give what you can level. So whatever you're comfortable with, you get the replay of this stream. You get a patron Zoom show every day or every week. Not every day. That'd be way too much. I couldn't do that. I'm sorry. But a patron Zoom show once a week where I do a Zoom show for the patrons. I work on some new material. We tell some jokes. We play some songs. It's a good time. It's actually happening tonight. So for everyone seeing this later on the Patreon, hope I see you at the Zoom show tonight. It's going to be at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. And you guys know the drill. I dropped the link in the Patreon shortly before showtime. So I'm looking forward to that. And also I make theme songs. So if you ever wanted your own theme song, you can join my Patreon at a give what you can level and get your own theme song. Start out 2021 with a theme song. Why wouldn't you do that? Right? All right. So first, I have something I want to share today. I do a thing where I write an open letter to an outgoing president, which, of course, why wouldn't you do that? It has about a 48-hour shelf life until nobody cares. I mean, why wouldn't you spend time doing that, writing a farewell letter to an outgoing president? They'll never see it. Donald Trump will never see this letter. But why not do that? I do that. I write farewell letters to outgoing presidents. I will write one for Joe Biden whenever, if he makes it all 4 years or not, whenever he's out. I've never had to write one where somebody left before their term was up. Who knows what's going to happen with Biden since he is older. But whenever he leaves, I'll write a farewell letter to him. But here's my farewell letter to Trump. I wanted to share it with you guys. And by the way, if you enjoy this and you want to read more of my writing, you can subscribe to my Substack. It is just ronplacone.substack.com. I'm trying to publish more pieces. I didn't do as much of just regular column writing or blog, whatever you want to call it. I never did a ton of that, but I'm starting to do more of it, and I'm starting to publish things regularly on my Substack. And you can also get all that content on Rockfin as well. Oh, and that's another way if you want to get the replays of these streams. They're also available on Rockfin. But anyway, here's my farewell letter to Donald Trump. And I'm pulling it up so y'all can follow along too. Dear Donald, I always write an open letter to outgoing presidents. And yes, you are, in fact, an outgoing president. Since flattery is the only way to grab your attention, I'll start with a compliment. You didn't start any new wars. Good job. Of course, giving you credit there is kind of like when your daughter gave you low fuel emissions. Yeah, it's technically true, but the pandemic had an awful lot to do with it. You know what else the pandemic had an awful lot to do with? Your loss. You love to call people losers, Donnie. And you just reset the bar for what that word means. You lost an election to a non-existent opponent. See, I'm no fan of the other guy. I'm no fan of you either. I'm the type of guy people like you and Biden think should be in jail just because of the way I see the world. In a country like Denmark or Sweden or Canada, I'd be considered on the left. In the United States, I'm considered watch list. So it goes. As a general rule of thumb, you can't beat something with nothing. And Joe Biden wasn't much of an alternative. You calling him a socialist was quite epic, as we both know the only Marx he's ever heard of is Groucho. But you lost, Donnie. And you didn't lose to Joe. You beat yourself. This was an election between Donald Trump and Donald Trump. And the only way you were going to lose is if you shot yourself in the dick hard enough. Well, you did. You shot so hard, it came out the other end, grazed Rudy Giuliani, and now he sweats hair dye. In United States politics, voters respond to strength. In 2016, you manhandled a clown car of corporate hacks. Marco Rubio needs to drink an abnormal amount of water because it's what holds his spine up. Jeb Bush always looks like someone just stole his lunch money and he just finished crying about it, despite him being a grown man. And Chris Christie is like if Humpty Dumpty had a great fall into a library full of nothing but Ayn Rand books. You handled all of them, Donnie, and some people thought that was strength. But the rest of us knew better. That wasn't strength. You were just on top of the coward pile. You lacked the subtlety to tolerate their nonsense, and while it was entertaining at times, it was just nonsense from a different angle. You were tired of doing the buying, so you figured may as well be bought. It's like the crust on a dried up dog turd. Sure, it's at the top, but at the end of the day, it's still shit. In 2020, people realized that strength was fake. People saw you for the clueless walking mound of indigestion that you are. You tried to scare them about socialism, but they were more scared of your incompetence. So much so that Joe Biden got a record amount of votes. Joe Biden is like if an unpaid parking ticket from the 80s was a person. He has enough skeletons in his closet that he's always ready to decorate for Halloween, and his only loyalties lie with Comcast, war, and fracking. Making him president now is like giving Gilligan the wheel in the middle of the Bermuda Triangle during a hailstorm while Poseidon is on the prowl and angry, and voters still preferred that over you. Because they saw you for what you are and have always been. You were born with a silver spoon, and all you had to do was not shove it up your ass. And you couldn't manage that, even after multiple tries. The most repulsive of your base will slither back from wherever they came from. And as a country, we now have a greater awareness of what lurks in our sewers, although for the most part, it's nothing we didn't already know. Thanks for some laughs during the debates, and literally nothing else. So long, loser. That's my farewell letter to Donald Trump. And when I write one to Biden, I'm not going to be able to use any of the stuff I already said about him. I'm going to have to come up with I'm sure there will be plenty to talk about by the time it's time to write one for Joe Biden. But that's my farewell letter to Donald Trump. And if you dug it, ronplagone.substack.com. Subscribe. All right. Wanted to share that with y'all. Let's go directly to the patrons now. Nina, we'll start out with you. How are you, Nina? Good to hear from you. I hope all is well up in Canada, but you have some news not about Canada. You have some news about my neck of the woods, Southern California. In the most disturbing news in so many ways department, you say, LA has suspended. Yeah, I heard about this. So LA has to suspend air quality rules to allow cremations of a backlog of COVID-19 victims, partially because their boomer era dental fillings release so much vaporized mercury during the process. So I guess obviously the answer is yes, but I'll admit I'm not hip to this. Like, have dental fillings, I guess they've evolved over the past, like 30, 40 years or so, based on what you're saying here, like their fillings. So I wonder what all changed. I mean, I don't know. I'm not an expert in the field of dentistry, or even, I'm not even. Well, I guess I was about to say I'm not even a connoisseur, but isn't that kind of reasonable to be like, yeah, I'm not a connoisseur. Well, you're not a dentist, are you? No, I'm not. Okay, well, there you go. Last time I went to the dentist was actually in Mexico. It was with my girlfriend at the time, now wife, but my girlfriend at the time, now wife, had to go down to Mexico to get I think it was like a crown or something. I forget exactly what it was. It was nothing serious, but that same procedure, even with her dental insurance, this gets into how great the U.S. is when it comes to things. Even with her dental insurance, the procedure that what cost about, I think it was like maybe $300 in Mexico. That same procedure would have been a couple grand in the United States. So she found out it was way more cost effective to just go down to Mexico for the day, hang out with some friends in San Diego, and get it done in Mexico. So that's what she did. That's a whole thing, by the way. That's called dental tourism, and then there's also medical tourism. So anyway, I was just waiting with her, and it was myself and then another friend of hers. It was the three of us, and myself and her friend, who of course was later in our wedding, but we were kind of making small talk because I was like the new boyfriend, like, oh, how long have you been dating my friend? And then we noticed a thing on the wall that said that teeth cleanings were like pretty much free. Like a cleaning costs, like if you wrote like a review or something or checked in, it was just free to get a teeth cleaning. So we inquired about it, and they weren't all that busy. So we each were like, oh, let's get some impulse teeth cleanings. And we did. We just got teeth cleanings in Mexico. And I was supposed to go to the dentist again this past year, but COVID put a stop to that. So anyway, I don't know, that all came up because I noticed the line about fillings in your comment, and that has nothing to do with what you submitted to me here. Yeah, LA suspends air quality rules to cremate backlog of COVID-19 victims. So I guess cremation causes some pollution in the air, but Los Angeles County has temporarily suspended air quality rules in order to allow COVID-19 victims to be cremated, according to an executive order passed by the South Coast Air Quality Management District over the weekend. The rules will be suspended for 10 days. So it might already be back to normal. Well, this is from Tuesday, so I guess we still have a little bit. It'll be suspended for 10 days as the region works through a backlog of people who have died from the coronavirus pandemic, which is still uncontrolled in many parts of the country. Well, Southern California is one of those parts of the country. It is still very much out of control here. Los Angeles County has 28 crematoriums. Yeah, this is something. I mean, what else can you say? I mean, you describe it as most disturbing news in so many ways. I feel like that's very accurate. I feel like you nailed it, Nina. And yeah, I do have one of those air quality apps on my phone, and I do check it from time to time because I think, I look around at the world around me, and I feel like there's not enough to worry about, really. There's so many carefree things. There's so many reasons to not worry about anything going on in the world. I need something else to be neurotic about. So I better get this app. But I do have that app. I have an air quality app, and I do check it every so often. And again, it gives me something else to worry about. But yeah, thank you for that. I did hear about that. I saw the headline, and yeah, it is. I feel like dystopian's the best way to frame that. Like that's just straight up dystopian. We're suspending air quality rules, which are, likely way too lax to begin with. I don't have the air quality rules of Los Angeles memorized by any means, but I'm imagining, I would imagine they should be stricter than they are, because pretty much all of our environmental rules should be stricter than they are. Why? Because, well, we bend the rules quite often at the behest of oil companies and other polluting corporations. So I'm sure they are already too lax to begin with, and we're going to make them more lax because we need to cremate people who have died because of a pandemic. We're a failed state. I mean, it's like people say that like it's I mean, not everybody, but sometimes it's like, well, you can't go that far. It's like, no, you can't. We are a failed state. The United States is a failed state. It just is. Um, I was talking with a buddy of mine about this yesterday, where I feel like maybe you kind of look for silver linings where they may exist, and I do think, like, we were just kind of talking the world and the climate and the future, and one kind of silver lining throughout all this is, you look at climate change and you realize that is not that is a world problem. That is a problem that we are facing as one world. And you look at what happened in this pandemic, and the one silver lining that I potentially see is that the rest of the world really has no doubts about what the United States is at this point. Any doubts that may have existed, they're gone now. And, the rest of the world needs to look at a place like the United States and go, we're expecting that failed experiment, which is what the United States is. It's a failed experiment. The experiment as we know it is over and should be. This failed experiment, we're expecting that to lead on climate change. That's what we're expecting to lead the United States. We're expecting them to lead the world on climate change. We can't do that. We can't do that. So, I kind of look to the rest. I'm not saying that we shouldn't do as much as we can here in the United States. When I say stuff like this, I don't mean this. I'm not giving this as a signal to give up. That's not what I'm implying at all. But I am saying that I expect other places in the world to lead, because the United States is not going to lead. The United States will be pulled along kicking and screaming. Not because of the people here, but because of the leadership. So, and I feel like the pandemic has made the world aware of that. I'll borrow a famous phrase here, that inconvenient truth that is the reality. So I kind of see that as a bright spot in many ways. I see that as a bright spot where it's like, okay, any doubts that, the United States might lead the way on climate change, we're not. We should try. Those of us here, we should try. We should still try and not stop trying. But, I have hope that other parts of the world are really going to start steering the ship. Even places like places like China, even. And I know that China is a big polluter, just like we are. I know that. But China is also investing into green energy way more than the United States is. And they're doing that around the world. And, they're going to lead on the technological end of it too. Because I think, and again, I'm not a scientist, I don't pretend to be, but, the way I see it, based on people I've talked to and what I have read, technology is going to play a role in all this. Technology is there. There's going to be some technological advancements that help us mitigate all this and help us adapt to all this, which there will be some adaptation. We're not going to, quote, stop climate change. That's not how it works. It's here. And I mean, I read a statistic not too long ago that for us to really have done everything to combat what we've done to the environment, we would have had to have been off fossil fuels by like the 60s. Full stop by then, to, slow down where we've gotten. So, yeah, anyway. Technology is going to play a role, and you look at other places, and I think they're going to lead. A lot of the EU countries, China. That's just kind of who I expect to lead, more so than the United States, and that's just the reality. I'm not saying we should. Someone brings up Germany in the chat. Yep. So anyway, I think that is a silver lining. And thank you for sharing that, Nina. And Nina, you're actually in one of the other countries that I also think could do better than the United States and is doing better than the United States, Canada. So there you go. I appreciate that. Greg, what's up, buddy? Shout out to Greg. Greg points out, this is my first Patreon experience. That's awesome, Greg. And you say, hope to still be up for the Zoom show at 3 a.m. over here. Okay, so you are in a different country. And then you ask this question, is there a minimum you have to donate to be able to join the Zoom thing? Well, I can answer that question for you, Greg. No, there is not. My Patreon is a pay what you can level. And no matter what level you get all the same perks. You get a theme song if you want one. You got to ask me for one. You get the replay of the patron streams. You get the patron Zoom shows. What I do is I drop the Zoom link shortly before the show starts, and all patrons can join. There's all kinds of stand-up clips not available anywhere else that you can check out. There's podcasts not available anywhere else. Dialogues between myself and Lucy not available anywhere else that haven't been drawn into comics yet. It's all there, and it's all for a give what you can level. And welcome. And yeah, 3 a.m. So I'm not sure where you're at in the world, but I'm assuming you're not in the U.S. or near it, because the patron Zoom show tonight is going to happen at 9 p.m. Eastern time, 6 p.m. Pacific time. So yeah, that's 3 where you're at. And I'll start. You know what I'll do? I'll make a post next week or in the not too distant future, and I'll try to gauge like where everybody's at. And each week I'll try to vary the Zoom shows a little bit to try to cater towards different people. Generally, we do it, like around 6 p.m. my time. That's a pretty good time for me. But especially during these quarantine times, I can totally be flexible. So maybe we'll do like a weekend morning, so it's prime time in some other places. So I will make a post about that, and I'll just say, hey, let me know what some better times are for some of you who are in places outside of the United States who are typically unable to make our regular stream times. So I will do that, because 3 a.m. That's, hey, if you're up, join us. You started your weekend early, man. You're still partying. But thank you for that, and welcome to my Patreon. Thank you so much for joining, Greg. I appreciate it very, very much. You help keep the show on the air. Catherine, what's up, Catherine? You have a recommendation for me. Please check out The History of Folk Future on Netflix. I like the title. That's a cool title. I like history. I like folk. I even like the idea of the future. I hope it's better. Anyway, you go on to say, it's a weird, low-budget sci-fi movie. I like that. With a music twist. I really like that. I think you'll like it. Well, so far, I mean, all those things check the box for stuff Rob would like. Lo-fi or low-budget sci-fi, I'm on board. That's another thing I'm not a big connoisseur in, but I appreciate, and music. Of course, I love music. And History of Folk Future, cool title. I'm intrigued. And now you go on to say, honestly, you can skip the first 10 minutes if you want. Okay. So I guess it takes a while to heat up. It's funny and has some good music too. I like funny and I love good music. Get stoned first. Well, Catherine, if you're going to twist my arm about it, I guess I'll have to get stoned first. Who am I to say no to such a request? Get stoned first. All right. I can do that. OMG, you say. D. Snyder is in it. D. Snyder. He's been, you'll randomly see that dude around a lot, like in random stuff. You're like, oh, that's D. Snyder. I was never a big Twisted Sister guy. I'm just not all that familiar with them. I was more of a punk boy, still am. I was always more of a punk guy. And then growing up, I got really, really into Nirvana. Of course, by the time I got into Nirvana, Kurt Cobain was already dead. I was too young. I missed the actual wave. I was too young. But I got really into Nirvana. So, all that kind of more hair metal stuff, I just didn't. That didn't appeal to me. I was a punk guy and a Nirvana guy. So, the closest that I got into that stuff would have been like the New York Dolls. And I believe one of their members actually passed recently, if I'm not mistaken. I believe one of the in fact, you know what? Since I brought it up, I should Google that. Yeah, one of the New York Dolls passed away recently, I think. Let me go to news. Is it? Yeah, Sylvain from he was a guitarist in the New York Dolls, and he passed away recently. He was only 69. That's too young. It looks like he was battling cancer for the past 2.5 years. That sucks. All right. Well, rest in power, Sylvain. Sorry that all came up. I felt weird bringing up like, oh, I think one of their members died recently. It's like, well, I should maybe I should, say something about that if I'm going to bring it up. So yeah, Sylvain, rest in power. New York Dolls, fantastic band. And they were kind of before. I mean, they inspired so many different kind of, I don't know, subgenre. Yeah, I guess subgenre is the right way to put it. I mean, because they inspired glam, they inspired art rock, they inspired hair metal, and they inspired punk. And they were kind of all over it. You know what I mean? So the New York Dolls were a very influential band, very, very influential, that, to be honest, often goes, I think it's fair to say they often go under the radar. Now, in the actual music, the music world, they are very highly revered, but they're, I think maybe, in the comedy world, we have such a thing as a comics comic. And I think the music world has that too, where it's like they're a band's band or a musician's musician. The New York Dolls are very, very highly respected and looked upon incredibly fondly in the music community, especially amidst other musicians. But I think amidst the general public, they were still very famous. Don't get me wrong. But I think I think it's fair to say that they maybe went a little, a little under the radar, comparatively speaking. You don't see them, quite recognized at the level of a Talking Heads or anything like that, for instance, or maybe even a Blondie. And I'm not a big Blondie fan. I mean, I don't dislike them, but I don't. I'm not a huge. I got fired from a job. Well, I didn't get fired. I quit, but I got in trouble. Sort of. I mean, I wouldn't say trouble, but I had a day job once, and we did one of those goofy icebreaker things where you had like, you have those icebreakers like, tell us if you were an animal, what animal would you be and why? And you're sitting with all the new hirees, and you have to. You wonder, I don't understand that, because, getting a job is like a step into adulthood, like a real job, a full-time job. Hey, I'm a grown-up. And yet you do these icebreaker things that are for children. I always thought that was odd. I always felt weird being at, a day job, which I had a lot of random day jobs. When I was in my early 20s or whatever, because I didn't last long at a lot of them. Because what would happen is I would get an offer to do a comedy gig, and that was more important to me. So I'd be like, well, I need some time off to go do this road gig. And they're like, well, you can't just take time off for road gigs whenever you want. And I'd be like, well, this is important to me, so I'm just going to have to find a different job, because this is just a crappy minimum wage gig, and I'd rather just do comedy that I care about and just try to find another one of these and stay here and miss out on something that's important to me. So that's what I would do. And it was and then eventually I just, I got lucky, because eventually I found a temp gig that was just kind of, really flexible, and they didn't need me full time. So it was a win-win, because they kind of just had the help from me when they needed it. and I could just go on the road whenever I wanted to, and they didn't have to pay me. So they were happy, and I didn't have to be there. So I was happy. I had a temp gig like that for a little while, and it was my temp gig for as long as I wanted it because no one else wanted it. If you're trying to make a living, you don't want something where it's like, oh, we might need you days only this week, or we might need you, only one day this week, and you can just pick the days, but we don't need you that much. Most people, they don't want a gig like that because they have bills to pay. But in my case, it was like, well, I could just do a bunch of road dates, and then this will supplement my income so that I'm making enough to live. Win-win. Anyway, that's sorry to go on about that. This connects to Blondie. So I had this one day job, and this wasn't the temp job I was just referring to, but I had this day job once, and we were doing that icebreaker thing where we were sitting in a circle, and they wanted to seem hip and cool for a day job land. So they said, name your favorite music artist and why. And I'm like, geez, you're making me name one? How am I going to name one? I can't do that. I forget what I said because I didn't, it's not important, but here's how I got in trouble. So the person who was running it, who I didn't care for, for whatever reason, we did not jive. I don't know why. We just didn't get along great. Misconnection. I don't know. Maybe we were both happy when we met. I don't know, but we didn't get along great. And she said that her favorite band was Blondie, and she said Blondie invented hip hop. Now, if you like Blondie, that's totally fine. I have nothing against Blondie. I don't not enjoy their music. I do enjoy their music. It's fine. But Blondie did not end hip hop. Nowhere close. Nowhere remotely close. I know people are referring to Rapper's Delight, I think it was called, where Blondie experimented with hip hop, which is fine. And I actually enjoy that song. But no, they did not invent hip hop. Okay. And if you're going to say something like that, that's actually a kind of ignorant thing to say. And she meant the girl meant no disrespect by it, but it was an ignorant thing to say. And I said something to her, which she didn't appreciate. I was like, yeah, I'd argue that no. I didn't say it in front of the group. I said it to her after. But after, I was like, Last Poets. Do you know who they are? Do you know who they are? I'm pretty sure that if anyone, I don't think you can say that somebody invented hip hop or one entity invented hip hop, but there was When the Revolution Comes by Last Poets, which is commonly referred to as, one of the first hip hop moments that was recorded. And let's see here. Some of y'all are pointing, Rapture was the song. And that was released much later. And yeah. So I pointed out to her, I'm like, look, yeah, I don't think so. And also it's like you have spoken word that goes back further than that from, a lot of Black poets. And so anyway, yeah, she didn't like me saying that. And I even I was mentioning, I'm like, Last Poets, you should check it out. I bet you'd like it. And she didn't appreciate it. And I left that job. I didn't get fired for that, but I left that job and they weren't sad to see me go. So there's that. Anyway, I don't know how Blondie came up. Oh yeah, because we came up with we were talking about Sylvain of the New York Dolls, and you know what? I'm gonna revisit some New York Dolls. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna revisit some New York Dolls. I'm gonna revisit some Blondie, and I'm gonna revisit some Last Poets, because it's not I love music, and I love all different kinds of music. And that's just how it goes. Oh, some of you guys are rappers like that. Sugar Hill Gang. My bad. Yeah, sorry, I'm mixing up my song titles. Yeah. And Fred just made me laugh because Fred said, "Listen to Tusk by Fleetwood Mac, very hip hop." Yeah, that's awesome. It's Last Poets. I think I accidentally said Lost at one point. That was a misspeak. I went to Mick Fleetwood's bar in Hawaii, and it was pretty cool. Everybody was dressed like him in that what's the Rumors album cover, where he has the dangling testicles. We all know those were balls. That's There's all I like all the funny goofy juvenile sexual antics that are subtle in rock and roll music. I get a kick out of it. I appreciate it. I like the fact that these were just people having a good time and having a sense of humor. In the song Girl by the Beatles, because the Beatles, they were just young dudes with senses of humor. In the song Girl, which, by the way, was a very obvious nod to Bob Dylan by John Lennon, there's the part of the song where they have the backing vocals, and they're going like T T T T T T T T T T T. You know that part of the song? Please don't sue me for copyright infringement right there, YouTube. They're gonna be like, that sounded just like the Beatles. How did that one man on YouTube recreate the harmony perfectly? He just recreated the harmony of 3 professional musicians, all who sing way better than him. But anyway, they were doing the T T T T T T part. Ringo said tit because he thought it was funny, and he kept making the rest of the band laugh. They were recording Girl, and Ringo was saying tit, 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 tit. And everyone thought it was funny because they just wanted to get that part done. It probably wasn't the most exciting part of making the recording, but they were like, you need to do the harmonies. George Martin, I don't know if George Martin produced that one, but he probably did. And he was like, we're going to do some harmonies here. There was that producer that made Buddy Holly do some of those, that made that acapella group, or wasn't an acapella group, but anyway, they thought that Buddy Holly's guitars were too raw, because his guitars were very they were very skiffle influenced, like kind of drawn some across the sea influence. Buddy Holly's guitars were influenced by rock and roll and also by the skiffle that was going on in England, and there was some really raw strumming. Also borrowed from the country and western in Texas. So it was actually a very unique guitar style, still celebrated to this day. Buddy Holly was great, and it's a shame that he, left this planet way before he should have. But they thought that was too raw. I guess it was the record label or the management or the powers that be, whoever was overseeing stuff. So they had these vocal harmonies, and in some of the Buddy Holly records, you hear the bop 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 bop. Buddy Holly didn't necessarily want all of that. They wanted to put that in because they thought the guitars themselves were too raw. And I don't know this 100%, but I think that there are ways you can get the Buddy Holly recordings without that stuff. So if you too would like, I think sometimes if something's meant to be lo-fi, I want it to be lo-fi. If it's not meant to be, that's different. But sometimes less is more, especially when it was written that way. And when it's just written for a basic skiffle rock and roll band, to play in a garage, which is what Buddy Holly and the Crickets were doing, it should be recorded that way. If Steely Dan is trying to make a big production, that's fine too. Those are two very different things. So I'm not one of these people who has a one size fits all when it comes to music production, nor am I an expert in said field. All I say is honor the song. And sometimes a guy in a room with an acoustic guitar and a microphone is all you need. And if that's all you need, have that be all there is. If the song requires more, is written for more, is meant for more, well, that's fine too. I can listen to Mountain Goats records where John Darnielle recorded some of it on his answering machine in the 90s, and then listen to Asia by Steely Dan and be just fine and not miss a beat. Because you know what both those things have in common? They're great fucking songs. They're great fucking songs. One can be studied in a music theory class. The other probably, definitely can't be. One you could probably pick up on an acoustic guitar sitting in your bedroom after a couple hours. The other, you probably can't. Doesn't make one better and one worse. They're just different. Anyway, so yeah, and thank you guys for the you guys are naming a bunch of stuff that that's like totally not hip hop. The Kinks had the most raw guitar leap of all time, created by 15-year-old. Was he really that young? 15-year-old Dave Davies. I love the Kinks too. Yeah. Now that's another band that I think it's fair to say, even though of course they are certainly recognized and have done a lot, in the scheme of things. But comparatively speaking, they're another band. They're not uttered in the same breath as The Who or the Beatles or the Rolling Stones. But man, the Kinks did some really influential stuff, did they not? This really turned into a music-centric episode, which makes me incredibly fucking happy. Made my day. You guys know that I love that. Oh, and by the way, a couple of y'all were giving a shout out to the Who parody that I did yesterday. I did a parody song called "We Will Be Fooled Again." It was just me and an acoustic guitar, but I do my best Pete Townsend at the end of it. And it's funny, if you look at the comments on that video, I think it's just called Inauguration Parody or something like that. You can catch it on my YouTube channel. We just dropped it yesterday. But there's a comment there that says the username is Pete Townsend. And Pete Townsend says, "Good job, but you got to work on your windmill." Now, I'm pretty positive it's not the real Pete Townsend. I think there's a 99% chance it is not actually Pete Townsend. There is a 1% chance he has some like borderline anonymous YouTube account and he came across it and he got a kick out of it. Is that impossible? It's not impossible, but I think it's there's a 99% chance that it's not him. But either way, it was I got a kick out of it. I got a chuckle. And but the Mad Caddies, geez, you guys are, man, I am reaching the right people because you guys are pulling out some deep cuts. The Mad Caddies, Jesus. MU330, where we mustard plugged. We got where are we going? I saw the Mad Caddies with the Aquabats. And this was a while ago. Someone just said Pat Boone invented rap. Nice, Peppy. Well done. I saw the Mad Caddies with the Aquabats, Now, you know what? Here's a fun aside. The Aquabats are still active. They're still doing stuff, and they're putting out a lot of content. Like they do like these quirky talk shows and stuff. I thought about trying to reach out to them and get them on the show. So I'm going to try to do that. I'm going to try to get one of the Aquabats on the show. I don't know. I don't know if we'd be able to. I mean, I'm sure it'd be a fun collaboration. I don't know if Get Your News On with Ron Folk would with it or not. I mean, I feel like it's going to be mixed. I feel like some people are going to be real excited about it. Other people are going to be like, I don't know what to expect from this. I mean, sometimes I'll have a music guest on and it really crushes and people are really into it. Other times, not so much. And I don't know, I don't know what to make of all that. I mean, I know not everybody who watches this show is really into music. I know some of you are. And that's okay. You don't have to be. If you like the show, you like the show. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where your passions lie. But yeah, I thought about reaching out. So anyway, I saw the Mad Caddies with the Aquabats. The Aquabats actually went on first, the Aquabats isn't the type of band that is meant to open a show. Like they're the type of band, if you know who the Aquabats are, check them out. It's they're like part ska, part pop, but they're like also like a Dr. Demento like TV-ish band. Like they never had like a TV show. They were kind of like the ska scene version of all that. Like they were quirky and they had sketches and they had characters. They were like part ska, part comic book, it's hard to describe the Aquabats. You just kind of have to see it. And when I saw the Aquabats live, I was only familiar with a couple songs, so I had no idea what I got myself into. I loved it. I mean, I don't know. If you go to an Aquabats show and you don't have a good time, even if the music's not your cup of tea, check your pulse. You're going to have fun at an Aquabats show. I think it's kind of impossible not to. Unless you have a migraine. That'd be the only exception. If you have a headache, you're not going to like an Aquabats show. I think that can be said for almost any live music, though. Unless it's like really, really your favorite band and you can kind of like power flip through it. Victoria described them as Power Ranger ska. I think that is the coolest. That is the coolest description I've heard. And that perfectly captures the era from where the Aquabats are coming from. So that's perfect. And I guess they did have a kids TV show. That's interesting. I didn't know that even. And some of you said the world's greatest superhero rock band. Yeah. Some of you guys are shouting out the MC5. So I may have, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to announce it now. I wasn't ready to announce this yet, but since we're really on a music kick today, I'm going to announce it now. So you're hearing it here first. And I'm not going to drop this as a regular clip yet. I'll make a more formal announcement later, but I'm going to announce this now. Because somebody naturally brought up the MC5, and because this has been a big music-heavy show, which, by the way, I could not be happier. I hope y'all are enjoying it as much as I am. But there is an effort. What's the official name of it? Sometimes I forget that it's not actually. Yes, it's called Jail Guitar Doors. And it started over in England. I believe it started over in England. I think it may have been an offshoot of the Joe Strummer Foundation. But either way, there's a Jail Guitar Doors in the US and there's a Jail Guitar Doors in the UK. And what they focus on is playing guitars and musical instruments and opportunities to people who are in prison. And there's a chapter over in England, and the big figurehead of the chapter over in England is Billy Bragg, and the big figurehead over here in the United States is Wayne Kramer of the MC5. And that's the program. And they also do other things. That they have teaching programs for prisoners, and they have they also work on criminal justice efforts and criminal justice reform. So Jail Guitar Doors is the name of the organization. They do cool things. What I think I'm going to do, and I haven't really reached out to anyone yet, I think I'm going to record some music. And I was inspired by, if you guys remember when Jesse Jett was on the show, he records all of his music on his phone using a Shure MV5. He inspired me to get a Shure MV5, which I did, which, by the way, that's thanks to you guys, the patrons. The reason I'm able to do stuff like that is because of you guys, the patrons. And we are going to have a huge audio upgrade on the show soon. I'm still working on that, but we're going to get some audio upgrades here at the show. But anyway, I got the Shure MV5 again. That's thanks to you guys, the patrons. And there's an app that you get with it that allows you to like use the mic to make recordings. And it's really freaking cool. Jesse and I have been messaging about it, which, by the way, check out his album if you haven't yet. His Inauguration Day album dropped, his album for the inauguration. So go to jessejet.bandcamp.com and check out that album if you haven't yet. And he inspired me to get that microphone. So I did. And you can have a video app with it. You can have an audio app with it. I got both of them. So what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to record some of that music that I've been doing. I'm going to record Ain't Been Doing Nothing If You Ain't Been Called a Red. I'm going to record Eve of Destruction again. I'm going to record What Did You Learn in School Today? The Pete Seeger song. I just remade that one. I'll probably do the Who thing that we just did. I'll do Bezos is Surveilling Your Town. And I have a couple original songs that I used to have back in the day. Some of them I've dug back out and have tried to finish. I have a few songs. There's literally a song that I started writing when I was 19. So, a couple years ago. And I'm finally going to finish it. So I'm going to record some of that too. So anyway, I'm going to record some music, enough that you could call it, an EP or an album of sorts. And I think I'm going to release it on Rockfin first. Rockfin and Patreon. So patrons, you're going to get it first. Rockfin, y'all are going to get it first. And then I'm going to release it on Bandcamp. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to try to make I'm going to try to get in touch with the Jail Guitar Doors people, and I'm going to give all the proceeds from it, from the Bandcamp proceeds, I'm going to give to Jail Guitar Doors. So I want to reach out to them and make it kind of like, I want them, to know about it and just tell them like, hey, I want to do this thing and I want to give it to you guys. So I'm going to do that. And yeah, it's not cast in stone yet, so it might not happen, but I want to do that. I'm going to release an album on Bandcamp and all the proceeds are going to go to Jail Guitar Doors, because I would feel weird. I would feel weird making money off of other people's music if I record it. You know what I mean? Like, even though I've rewritten the songs, like all the lyrics are like my rewrites and they are parodies, I would not want to charge people for any of that I just recorded on my own. But I want people to listen to it, and I want to make it. So I'm going to donate the proceeds to Jail Guitar Doors, and it's going to be pay what you can. So, there'll be, I think the way Bandcamp works is there's like kind of just a recommended price. Like, hey, this is usually, this is kind of what you could pay for an album. This is the standard recommended, and I'll probably make it something cheap, like $7 or something like that. But, if things are tight, but you want to download the album, you can give whatever you're comfortable giving, and you know that all that money goes to a very good cause. So if you only got a couple bucks and that's all you can give, it's totally cool. Similarly, if you are able and you want to give more than that, you're invited to do that. Again, all the money goes to a good cause, and it all goes to Jail Guitar Doors. So people will be able to do that too. If they're able to give more and they want to, they'll be able to do that. Yeah, so I'm hopefully going to do that. If I don't, you all can make fun of me. Now there's probably a greater chance I'm going to for sure do it. I've thought about it, and I mentioned it to my wife, and she's like, you should totally do that. You would have a blast making that, and it'd be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lo-fi deal, but that's, the music that I make, again, it's meant to be lo-fi. All it takes is a dude, a guitar, and a microphone. because that's the songs that I make. The songs that I write are, kind of lo-fi, anti-folky punk songs. That's the music I've always written. And the rewrites, the songs that I remake, they're old protest songs from like the 20s and beyond. And those songs are meant to be played at a pub with one person on a guitar who may be 4 sheets to the wind. So it's not like these are complicated musical compositions. And they're not all that complicated to sing because they're meant for everybody to know the words and everybody to sing along and laugh. So, yeah. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do it. I don't know exactly when. I'll make a more formal announcement later. But I'm going to do that before this freaking pandemic's over. That's going to be released. And Rockfin and Patreon, you're getting it first. And then it's going to be on Bandcamp. And of course, the way Bandcamp works, you can totally just listen to the tracks. So you'll be able to listen to it free of charge. So if if things are really tight and you'll be able to listen to it. But to download it, well, there's going to be a price for that. And all the proceeds go to Jail Guitar Doors. And it's going to be a give what you can. So whatever you're able to give to support them and have the album, there you go. All right. I feel like I've over-explained it at this point. They're like, yeah, we understand the concept of Bandcamp. You keep going on about it. We absorbed it a long time ago, Ron. Clearly, we're into music because we're watching this. So you don't need to explain to us how Bandcamp works. It'd be like, hey guys, welcome to my cooking show. Let me explain what a stove is for 20 minutes. Thank you for your love and patience. Krish, what's up, buddy? Krish said something that I wanted to. Krish is explaining Bandcamp too. You guys know Krish Moen, friend of the show. You can set your own price on Bandcamp and then click on option that lets folks pay more. Bandcamp also gives like 80% to the artist. I dig it. Yeah, Bandcamp is definitely a lot better than the other platforms out there like Spotify and Pandora and all that junk. Bandcamp is way better. So I'm totally cool with putting an album there. And I'm gonna reach out to the Jail Guitar Doors folks, and I'm gonna run this by them, and I hope they're excited about it, and that'll be that. So there you go. That's the big announcement, and we will dismount the stream there. Thank you, Catherine, for the movie rec. I will get on that. Thank you, Nina, for reminding me that Southern California is nuts. A reminder that Southern California is dystopian, along with the rest of the world. Thank you, Nina. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Catherine, for this week's topics. And Fighting Tyranny Farms, how are you? As a new organic farm, we are against big AG and commodity crops. How about a theme song? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Email me. Absolutely. So you're a new organic farm. Where are you based? I'm curious to know more. So please email me. Go to ronflacone.com and hit the contact button, and you can fill out those emails. Go right to me. I mean, I know some people, when they see a contact form, that they feel like, it's I don't want to do that. That's not legit. And I'm one of those people, to tell you the truth. But that's the best way to. It goes right to me. Like, even though you're filling out that form on my website, it goes right to me. So just send me an email that way, ronflacone.com. There's a contact button, and send me more information about your farm. And I can't wait to look into it, and I will totally make you a theme song. Absolutely. Thank you for that, Fighting Tyranny Farms. You can count on it. And thanks for doing that. Thank you for doing that. I think by big, you meant big agriculture. I said big AG, which was, whatever. But thank you very much for this Super Chat contribution. Please do get in touch. I would love to do that for you. And I'd love to learn more about your farm. You guys know that that's my only activity. That's been my only activity during the pandemic. I go to my farmer's market once a week. I look forward to it tomorrow's the day. Our farmer's market is on Friday. And one of the reasons this stream is on Thursday instead of Friday, my wife switched up her work schedule, and now Friday is one of her days off. So we're like, well, Friday we can just go to the market together and have our Friday. So that's why I'm doing the patron stream today instead of Friday, and that's probably going to be the norm from now on. But yeah, So thank you for that, Fighting Tyranny Farms, and please do get in touch. And Jared Senna, what's up, Jared? I hope you're doing well. You give me $4.20, a significant amount for your message, which is why I bring it up. $4.20, and you say schmirkabrr. I will. You know what? You guys have requested at least twice, and there may be some times in the chat that I missed. You said, Ron, get stoned. And, you know, if you're going to pull my arm about it, Jared requested this, Catherine requested this. I feel like the world is telling me something. So I am going to get stoned tonight. And I'm going to have to tell my wife, I'm going to be like, hey, I have to get high. I'm going to get high. I'm going to make a nice dinner for my wife tonight. There's the patrons Zoom show. That's at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. We'll do it after the Zoom show. So after, I'm going to have a fun Zoom show. I'm not going to do it before, because whenever I can't perform stoned. So if I did that, they'd just be like, are those jokes? He's talking just weird. Does he know that this is live? So I'm not going to do it before, but after, I'm going to make some dinner. I can totally cook stoned, but I'm going to make a nice dinner for my wife, and I'm going to get high because Catherine and Jared and probably some other people too told me to. So I got to do it. I appreciate you all. Thank you guys so much. Thank you again, Fighting Tyranny Farms, and please do get in touch about that theme song. Again, ronplacone.com. Jared, thank you very much. And of course, to all the patrons, Catherine, Nina, Greg, thank you for this week's topics. And thank all of you. Thank you to all of you so much for tuning in. If you're catching this live and you want to become a patron, patreon.com/ronplacone. Or of course, you could also get the replay of this stream if you join Rockfin. You can join Rockfin. You can endorse my channel, Ron Placone, and for a monthly subscription, you get a bunch of content creators, and it is a crypto platform distributed amidst the creators, and it's all ad free. So it is a YouTube alternative, and I'm on there. Graham Elwood's on there. Lee Camp's on there. Jimmy Dore's on there. Dave Anthony from the Dollops on there. A ton of people you know and love are on the Rockfin. There's a bunch more. Christina Desiree Berg's on there. Status Quo is on there. The Convo Couch is on there. Nico House is on there. Richard Medhurst is on there. Ton of folks are on Rockfin. It's a good time. And so anyway, yeah. Oh, and again, if you like my letter, subscribe to my Substack. It's just ronplacone.substack.com. And all right, you know the drill. I will see you all on Monday. That's the next official Get Your News On With Ron show. And who's the guest on Monday? Medea Benjamin is the guest on Monday. I can't wait to talk to her. Medea Benjamin of Code Pink. And she also wrote a book on Iran and a lot of other books. You know Medea Benjamin. I can't wait to talk to her. And in the meantime, have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe. And Lucy says meow. And I say peace. Peace.